What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I am doing a updated 2020 desk setup tour where I go over my workstation where I do both content creation / live streaming and coding. So this is my overall productivity workstation here. First things first is, if you guys have been following my Instagram and have seen my desk over the past year, which you guys can see here, here, and here, you'll notice that there have been quite a few changes, and a lot of people have been asking me the same questions over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I decided that, hey, now's right about the time where I need to make an updated setup tour, and I'll probably consistently do this as this setup isn't really going to be finished. So let's start first things first with the desk. So the desk is an autonomous smart desk from autonomous.ai. Sit stand desk, it's perfect. It's got this bamboo finish from the top. Like I just said, it's a sit stand desk, so it helps me a lot with my back posture and overall just pain management, so that I'm not sitting down all the time so my hips don't start creaking and get all painful and stuff. So it's been a lifesaver having the sit stand functionality in that. You'll also notice the cable management underneath that I'll show you guys right now. So I actually use some J channels and a lot of 3M tape to mount everything underneath the desk, as well as cable manage everything and making everything as tidy as I can get it. I use 2 J channel strips. If you guys didn't watch my past video on how and what I specifically installed underneath the desk, then you guys can check it out in the description, but I'll also link it above as well. I also have some Govee LED strip lights installed underneath the desk, which definitely makes the desk stand out, especially in some of the Instagram photos that I take. It helps create that ambient lighting in the background and kind of just helps me create this little mood that I want to. And it's RGB. It also reacts to music and or just normal sound, which is awesome. So I mean, that just adds on to the aesthetic purposes of the setup. As far as the chair that I'm sitting on right now, this is the Autonomous Ergo Chair 2, which has been amazing for me. They sent this out to me. They actually sent both the desk and the chair out to me to try out and review, and I've been loving both of them ever since I got them. Again, helps with my posture, adjustable in so many different aspects, and just is one of the best chairs that I've used personally as far as ergonomics go. Moving on to the monitor now, which is probably the most asked question on Instagram and by any of you really that have seen my setup, is the monitor. So the monitor is an LG 49-inch ultra wide. It has been one of the most amazing purchases I have made in the past couple months. I think I purchased this in January, and for coding, for content creation, for anything really, it's been amazing. Right now, I'm actually running it in PIP mode, which stands for picture in picture if you guys don't know, but I'm having it run in a dual screen setup here where I have both my laptop and streaming PC running in separate sections of the monitor, my laptop being on the left and my stream PC being on the right, which has helped significantly for 1, multitasking, but 2, more so the live streaming side of things. Since I do use a stream PC, like I just said, it helps because I don't have to have multiple monitors on my desk. I can keep everything super clean and seamlessly just have both systems on one monitor and run my stream that way. It's not cumbersome in any way. Sure, I do have to go to the back of the monitor and switch sources or switch where the sound is coming out of from time to time, but all in all, it's actually been a great system and has been very beneficial for me. Speaking of the monitor, the other question I get most asked is what monitor mount I'm using, and I will also have that linked in the description, but it is a Vivo desk mount. It is a dual vertical mount, so you can actually mount 2 vertically stacked above each other, which is the one that I purchased. Again, I'll have the exact one linked down below in the description, but that has been an awesome mount for this monitor. This monitor is not an easy one to mount. There's so many different ones that you can choose from hydraulic to the Vivo ones, but this one is the one that I chose because in previous setups, which I'll also show right here or right here, I actually did have a second monitor above this ultra wide, which was a little overkill as a 32-inch Dell, but I have since gotten rid of it because I do like the minimal aspect of this setup a lot more and a lot better. So I've decided to discard that monitor and go for just the single so far. Now, like I mentioned, I do have a laptop and a stream PC, so I'll go into those right now. The laptop I'm running right now is a MacBook 16-inch 2019 version. It is the i9 2.3 gigahertz version with 64 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD, so not quite maxed out, but CPU and the RAM is pretty nice to have, especially like I said for the coding and content creation side of things. That's not much more I can ask for. It renders and edits a lot better than the PCs that I have, especially my gaming PC, and it's portable, being the laptop it is, and the 16 inches definitely helps with the screen real estate. So this thing has been awesome for me. I haven't had any hiccups with it. It's been awesome. I was not a Apple fanboy or an Apple fan for that matter earlier this year, but ever since I've switched, I've now have an iPad, I now have an iPhone, and now having a MacBook. So not saying that I'm 100% converted over to be a Apple fan. I genuinely just, I don't know, something about them just hits me the wrong way, but I do like their hardware, especially in the products that I have, so I couldn't be any more happy right now. I'd still use a Windows machine if I wanted to. If anyone wants to hit me up for one and send it out for a review, I'm open to that. But for right now, that is my daily workhorse, especially on the go. Hooked up to that right now, I have an Armor ATD 4 terabyte hard drive. This thing is an absolute beast, it being Thunderbolt 3, so the speeds are not something that I ever have to worry about. I usually always have this hooked up. I will always bring it with me, as well as it holds all of my videos, all of my photos, and just other miscellaneous things that I do need on a day-to-day basis when it comes to creating content, whether it be video or photos or Instagram. The other thing that is consistently hooked up while it's here at the workstation is the CalDigit TS3 Plus docking station. This thing is crazy awesome. It's one of the only docking stations I've ever used, but probably will be the only one. It does come with its quirks, obviously. I did have some issues running the full 5120 by 1440 resolution when it was only my MacBook hooked up to the ultra wide. But since I've switched over to the PIP mode, it's been okay. There are some quirks with the firmware as well, where sometimes my CPU usage will just jump up sporadically out of nowhere, always at the wrong times, especially when I'm live streaming. My CPU usage just kind of jumps for no reason, and as soon as I unhook it from the docking station, it'll jump down and everything will be fine. So I think that's just a firmware thing. They haven't come out with one yet, but hopefully soon that'll come out and all my problems will be solved, but I cannot complain. SD card reader at the front, so it's easy access for me when I need to upload photos or videos and then send them over to the hard drive. Everything's done over Thunderbolt, so the speeds are crazy fast. Couldn't ask for anything more. Also, if I wanted to, I could definitely hook up an Ethernet to this if I wanted wired speeds, but right now I don't see the need. I'm also mirroring my display for the live streaming side of things, so I have a USB-C to HDMI adapter coming out of the docking station. That way I don't have to have a second cable up top and having to plug that in. I can just plug in one cable and everything starts working out the gate. That HDMI cable then goes to my stream PC, which I get into next. So the stream PC is down below. I will also list the specs because I don't have the specs listed off the top of my head. I do believe I have a Ryzen 7 1700X. I forget the board that I'm running right now, but 8 gigs of RAM so far, and I'm using an old Asus ROG Strix 1080 graphics card as the GPU. So, you know, it's a decent enough build, definitely with the Ryzen 7 1700X. It's still like the Gen 1 of the Ryzen line. I haven't updated since, you know, I have this system since the Ryzen 7 1700X came out, but it's been running like a champ. You know, I can't complain. It still runs the live streams very smooth, and I still have a lot of CPU left over, even running at a higher encode settings than usual. So definitely happy with the stream PC so far. And using, also to mention, the capture card I'm using right now is an Elgato HD60 Pro, I think it is. And I'll have it linked again once you see the PC, and also down in the description if you guys are ever curious. Now let's get into more of the peripheral side of things, where that is the keyboard and mouse. So right now I'm using the Logitech MX keys and the MX3 combo, which have been fantastic, especially for my use case. Like I said, I'm using a dual PC setup right now where I have the MacBook and the streaming PC. I didn't want to overcrowd my desk with 2 keyboards and 2 mice. I didn't want to overcrowd that because when you take Instagram photos, you're gonna have to consistently take those keyboards and mice out, and it just becomes a mess, and it's just too much for me. So I decided to opt for these, and I've always had these. Logitech was kind enough to send them out to me and test them out prior, but I've been using these. I can use them both seamlessly for the MacBook as well as the Stream PC with the unifying USB adapter. The Stream PC doesn't have Bluetooth, the board didn't have it compatible, so having that unifying adapter in there definitely does help. I can use Logitech Flow, which means that I don't have to keep switching the sources, at least on the mouse or on the MX Key Master 3. On the MX keys, I still do have to switch between sources, but with Logitech Flow, I can still use the mouse seamlessly and go across each device pretty seamlessly with little to no hiccups. Obviously there are some here and there, but it works for my purposes, and I thoroughly enjoy the system that Logitech has created. That way I can keep my desk clean, minimal, and just the functionality overall is perfect for my needs. That being said too, I also can use it with my iPad, which is awesome because it can take up to 3 different devices. So I'm switching seamlessly between my MacBook, my iPad, and my Stream PC just in case I needed to do something. Multitasking and productivity is at its all-time highs. Let's go up top above the monitor now, which is a new addition. Like I said, if you guys haven't watched that previous video of my setup, you should definitely go check that out because this was one of the new installations that I've now added, which is my Sony a7 Mark II as a webcam. This is a new thing that I'm testing out, and so far so good. It's using its kit lens that it usually comes with, and I have it hooked up from its mini HDMI down into an AverMedia Extreme Cap U3, and I have an ongoing dummy battery hooked up to it, so it's connected to the power strip underneath, and that's giving it continuous battery so that I don't have to keep reaching underneath and switching out the batteries or worrying about it during a stream just shutting down on me, which is awesome. One less thing to worry about, and it's definitely been a godsend for me when it comes to production quality on the live streams. Even when I'm making YouTube videos, it just makes the quality so much better than a normal webcam. How the camera's mounted is actually just on a little friction arm that I found on Amazon for like 20 bucks. I could be wrong on the pricing, but again, I will list that down in the description so you guys can check that out. It is a cheap little thing, but it's one of the strongest and sturdiest things I've found on Amazon in a long time. It's clamped on to the Vivo stand that I have the monitor mounted on, and then now just screws directly into the Mark II, and it has been holding there steady for about a couple weeks, and I haven't had to worry about it, haven't had to move it or adjust anything. As soon as I tightened everything down, it's been pretty steady. I've jumped around in the room, I've shook the table, everything's been a-okay. So if you guys are looking for a friction arm for any of your Sony cams, Canons, whatever DSLR you have, this is the one that I think you would definitely should think about checking out, especially if budget is one of your biggest concerns. What everything is sitting on top of the desk is actually a Grove made desk shelf that they kindly sent out to me as well for a review, and this thing has been a great addition to the desk. It helps me kind of consolidate everything underneath and on top of the shelf to clean it up a little bit, but also adds an aesthetic piece to it. Even though the walnuts doesn't exactly match with the bamboo, that little contrast there definitely does help me at least kind of just bring out the aesthetic purposes of the setup. But the shelf on the right hand side has been great for tucking away things like my Apple Pencil when I'm not using it, my remote for my soft light, a bunch of USBs and other miscellaneous things. My notebook sits underneath as well, and it's not out and about, so it doesn't look messy, which definitely helps with that side as well. I can keep the desk fairly clean, hiding it underneath and behind the desk. Sitting on the right hand and left hand sides of the desk are gonna be both of the headphones of choice. So underneath the desk, I actually have the Sony I'm just gonna call these the Sony Mark IIIs. I will have the exact name of the model down like right here somewhere. These things are my go-tos for noise canceling Bluetooth. These definitely do go with me on the go if I ever, you know, go out to somewhere that's noisy. Obviously prior to COVID and post-COVID, these will be with me if I don't end up pulling the Mark IV. Sony, if you're looking for a review and want to send me a unit to try out for the Mark IVs, I'm your guy. Those go out with me. Beautiful, long battery life. It's amazing. They're all hooked up to my phone, my MacBook, and they switch seamlessly whenever I need them to. The mic quality obviously is not the greatest, but the noise canceling is what I bought them for, and the Bluetooth part of it is is awesome. So definitely recommend those. But on the right hand side, I have the Sennheiser X58 Jubilees that I bought from Drop, or what was formerly known as Mass Drop. I've had these as some studio monitors for a couple months now, and they've been awesome. I use them when I edit, I use them on the podcast, when I want some crisp, clean audio and have a flat audio profile so that everything is kind of close to reference as I need it to be, especially when it comes to dealing with audio, whether it be on the podcast or on YouTube videos. So those have been definitely a good purchase for me, and they just look sexy, so I had to pull the trigger on those. As I've mentioned already in the video, I also have my iPad on my desk. It's always plugged in, so I have it there to, you know, watch NBA games, to take notes, to text when I'm occupied on both my PCs, or just there to, I actually have been starting to use it for my stream, kind of like a Stream Deck. I use Streamlabs primarily to stream as my software, and there's actually an app called the Streamlabs Remote, I believe, and you can actually, you know, switch scenes from your iPad, mute different audio sources. So I've been using it as a Stream Deck, and having it kind of there is awesome. So that's what I've been primarily using it for. If you guys want me to make a video on the iPad, how I use it for software development, definitely hit me down in the comments and let me know what you guys want to see as far as the iPad goes. Now for some of the bigger pieces on the setup or on the desk is my audio equipment. So on the desk itself, I have the Rode PSA1, I think I got that right, as the boom arm. Connected to it is the Rode SM7B, which is a typical, you know, podcaster slash vocal mic that a lot of people use, whether you're streaming or making videos. It's kind of one of the most used and most purchased mic that everyone gets. From that mic goes to a cloud lifter that is also 3M Velcroed underneath on the side of the desk, which adds some clean gain to the mic, which it definitely does need. If you're thinking about purchasing this mic, you definitely need a cloud lifter. That way you don't have to boost the gain on whatever amp or mixer that you're using, and you can get some clean gain and keep the gain down on the mixer, so that way you get some nice clean audio. From the cloud lifter that runs into my compressor, which is the DBX286S, I recently purchased this thing and it's been awesome, especially for the podcast, which is primarily what I bought it for. It's helped me with its expander gate, with its de-esser, especially with the compressor that's built in. It's just made my audio experience a lot better, as I do not live alone. I live with parents, I live with a dog, I live with my grandma, so you know, there's a lot of chatter going on in the house. With the expander slash gate, or with the noise gate, it's been so helpful for me to block out some of those background noises and keep it just to me and the audio overall, especially on the podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, you guys can check that out in the description. The audio has been great. It sounded awesome, and I don't have to worry about it. It's been great. From the DBX, it runs into the Focusrite Solo, or the Red Scarlet Focusrite Solo. That is my digital preamp that then runs into the Stream PC to give my stream or my podcast audio. So I'm only using it slightly for gain, but you know, I don't have to provide the mic phantom power from that. The DBX does it for me. I just need to get it to the Stream PC. But that's the audio setup as far as what I use for my podcast. Sometimes I'll use it for voiceovers on YouTube videos once I start doing more of those. I've only ever done it once, so haven't had to do it much for YouTube. It's primarily just for the podcast. On the right-hand side of the desk, I have a Tautronics lamp that I've been using for a very, very long time now. It's been awesome. It has a USB input on the side. You can dim it pretty low. You can brighten it pretty high, and you can also change the different color profiles, or the Kelvins, I think you call it, to get either a really bright light or a super moody orange light if you're, say, reading or something like that. I typically use it for a backlight when I'm streaming, or just to put it behind the monitor to get some nice aesthetic shots for Instagram. And to end things off, what else is on my desk? I have a Quadlock charging dock, I guess you could say, or call it. They were kind enough to send me out a couple of their items to test out, which obviously they send me out their case for my iPhone. This thing has been awesome. It's a whole locking system. Pretty sure my order just came through. my DoorDash order just came through while I was talking, so that's fun. My room's like next to the front door, so it's a little awkward. They sent me this Quadlock case as well. It's been awesome to use. It's a whole system that you use, and it fits on multiple of their accessories, one being this charging dock that sits on my desk. The bottom is like adhesived on, or it's like some sort of sticky material that like keeps it from moving, and it's actually awesome. You literally just lock it in. It's wireless charging, so I don't have to keep plugging it in, and it stands upright so I can actually see notifications when they come through. So that's been an awesome addition to the desk setup. It's definitely added to the whole aesthetic purpose, but as well as the functionality purpose of the whole desk. This desk is primarily functionally based. It's meant to be so that I can live stream and create content with ease, but also just to feel cozy and at home. You know, I don't want to come home to a messy desk where everything's all over the place and there's just way too much for me to see, and then I get stressed out. This desk has been catered to be, you know, very simple, but also functional at the same time. You know, there's a lot of different moving parts to it, but you know, it works for me. I'm able to create content and code and live stream and do all that fun stuff fairly easily, and it's all comfortable. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys have any other questions regarding the desk, regarding the setup, regarding my room, or whatever other videos that you guys want to see, please do let me know in the comments. Please hit the like button and subscribe as well, because it definitely does help me out. I've been enjoying the support. I've been enjoying making all this stuff, so hopefully this helped you guys out. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to email me, DM me on Instagram, or again, like I just said, hit me in the comments. But I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.